Okay, so now what I was thinking this time is that I will start from this text, but then mainly I will give you instruction because here is a reference to the Powa practice according to the practice called Powa practice called unimpeded wisdom, that is according to the Ati. So Shazan Rinpoche gave reference to the Powa, Ati Powa. So I will give you the instruction from this Powa. Then during this time, during this retreat, we have like 4 days, including today. You can do some exercise of the Powa practice 4 times a day. Morning, in the little bit in the late in the morning, in the afternoon, and in the night. So we must train with this. I know many of you have done Powa many times. No? How many people have done Powa? You have done, all of you. Okay, most people have not done Powa. So those who have not done, it is good to do. Those who have done, also is good to do, to remind. You just received Powa or you did Powa also? Okay, so first I will read a little bit from the text, like usual. As for the second, the instructions that brings the instructions for the middle capacity people to get liberation in the Pardo. There are 3. First, Pardo of the Rangji, the natural Pardo, Pardo of the point of the death, Pardo of the natural state, Piniji Pardo. As for the first, which is natural Pardo or the Pardo of the life, Tangboni, Toma Jilundib Jugune, Kubi Simjinji, Kunji Nyamungame Paja Melong, Pena Melong, La Yakam Lundub de Yadriko Patawala, Chimi Leniji Bisabun to Jurbe, Leta de Basabi, Wankis. Okay, so Pardo of the natural Pardo of the lifetime here is referred to the every sentient beings, in the 6 realms, since their birth till the point of the death, till they get the disease or the cause that brings eventually to the death, so till they get this is basically refer to the Pardo of the lifetime. So during this lifetime, every sentient beings, due to their karma, different karmic traces that has been left in previous lifetimes, illimited number of previous lifetimes. So these karmic traces placed in the stream of mind, which is like oxidation in a mirror, for example, like let's say like silver mirror. Silver can get like oxidation, So even the mirror is clean, pure, but when it gets oxidized outside surface, it become unclear, Is it clear?
Yeah.
Everybody knows that?
So,
yeah, it is. Our mind is like this. So, and then this can become the cause to, develop, future, the emotions, negative emotions, future conditions. So all the karmic traces that we have accumulated in our past lives becomes like cause that brings about the manifestations of different kind of circumstances in our life in the future.
I teraz te właśnie zgromadzone
maybe next lifetimes. And then that even caused the creation of another, new karma and new karmic traces that is to be left in our mind. Different kind of karma. There can be a good karma, virtuous karma, non-virtuous karma, or just ordinary, middle kind of karma, or like that. So anyway, stream of our mind is full of karmic traces. So full of karmic traces that can bring about the manifestation or experience of happiness, unhappiness, pain, pleasure, different kind of experiences in our life, in the samsara. So whatever these karmic traces, whether it is like positive karmic traces, negative karmic traces, doesn't matter. Everything is mainly rooted in the deluded mind. So because of this, our mind, no matter any kind of state of mind, is basically strongly bound with this delusion. Particularly the human beings like us, who has this physical body, who are bound with the 5 aggregates. Particularly this aggregate of the body, which is a very gross form of the body form, and gross form of aggregates of the feeling, aggregates of the discriminations, aggregates of the consciousness, etc. 5 aggregates. Aggregates of body, aggregates of feeling, aggregates of discrimination, aggregates of the composite factors,
Złożonych.
and then aggregates of consciousness. So we are bound. These are the different dimensions of our own being. Because of these are very strong and very gross, so we are obscured of the pure dimension of our, what we can say, the body, enlightened bodies, 5 bodies. Even the 5 bodies of the enlightenment are naturally endowed in us, as a dimension of our own natural state of the mind. But we don't experience, we don't see it because of the obscuration of these 5 aggregates, which is very strong and dominated in us. Because we are bound with the different kind of gross form of sources, like 5 organs, for example, organs and sense organs. We have very strong, senses, gross form of senses and sense organs. We are obscured of the fact of the clear light that is also naturally endowed within us. And because we are strongly bounded by the Leda Nyambova, our karma and emotions, very gross form of emotions, and our karma, we are obscured of wisdom and the visions of the natural state. So you have heard many times, natural state is our real condition of our being, and it is pure and is luminous and luminously clear. So the clarity, clear light, these are all natural, condition of our own being. Even what we can say the 5 enlightened bodies, or 3 bodies of enlightenment, Dhammakaya, Sambhogakaya, and Nirmanakaya, for example. Naturally endowed within oneself. They are not something newly produced. So they are natural, the pure dimension of our own natural state of the mind. But we don't experience them, we don't see them because of these obscurations. Obscurations because of all this gross form of our own being. Body, speech, mind, we say, 5 aggregates, all these emotions, very strong gross form of emotions, gross form of thoughts, gross form of conceptions. So these are the phenomena that dominates our being. So we are automatically obscured of the real, the natural and pure dimension of our being. So when we say we are obscured of these pure dimensions and pure reality, that means we are ignorant of these things. So as we are ignorant of this pure dimension of our being, so we become, engaged with ordinarily with all the deluded state of our being. Truna Rankama is like ordinary, we always engage our action, our speech, our mind, everything is, whatever we do, whatever we, whichever way we think and whichever way we act, everything happens under the, influence of the delusions and ignorance. So that leads one to the different kind of the sufferings, pains, and different destinations in the samsaric realm. So we circulate in the samsara, illimited way since lifetime, beginningless time till now. So if we continuously still goes like that, so we will continue to circulate.
Samsara.
Now here is saying that now knowing all this situation, one must feel deep sense of the intention, deep sense of aspiration to be free from this situation. Usually we call such a intention of feeling as we call ngejung, thought of renunciation. We can say the thought of liberation. So this thought of liberation should lead one to get, step up in the practice. So that is what we are doing actually. So all the practitioners who engage, so there is of course, exactly speaking, there are different, everybody is brought into Dharma practice by different reasons, different motivations, but ultimately one should develop this thought of liberation, strong wish and aspiration to be free from the samsaric conditions, deluded conditions of the samsara. Initially, some may be engaged, may come to Dharma for example, health reasons, seeking for some help from one's health. Some may come to Dharma just out of curiosity. Once they are there and they get more interest and you get stuck there. Or some may have come to Dharma because of the different reason, I don't know. So however, that is fine. So ultimately once one get more kind of genuine sense of engaged with the Dharma, and then one should develop one's motivation to redirect and to develop one's motivation a little bit more bigger and more, I would say, wider. So by way of cultivating a strong wish and aspiration to be free from all kind of pain and their causes of samsara. So that kind of thought and motivation is called ngejung, which is very important to cultivate a genuine sense of refuge. This motivation is very important to cultivate a genuine sense of, compassion and bodhicitta, all of this. So there's one difference between ngejung and nyingje, the compassion and ngejung. Ngejung is more thinking about oneself. The strong wish to be free from the pain of the samsara, suffering and pains of the samsara, thinking about oneself. And now this same motivation aiming for the other beings becomes compassion, strong and genuine sense of feeling and aspiration to be free, all the sentient beings from their pains and suffering, thinking about others. This is compassion. When these things about switch to yourself, it becomes, we call ngejung. When the ngejung is switched for others, it becomes compassion. It's called compassion. Basically, same motivation. Sometimes we say, in the West, you say you have to have compassion to yourself. Having compassion of yourself is ngejung. Having compassion for other is compassion. Basically, I would say like that. Okay, so with such an aspiration to be free from the samsara, then one should train to listen the teachings, study Tangpo Tupe Lojangs. First, one should train with the study and listening. And then secondly, in the middle, then Sampe Telapa, whatever you have heard from the teaching, whatever you have read in the books should be analyzed, and you should establish your understanding, not only just listening and believing. You listen and you study, and to make you understand and establish certain kind of understanding in yourself, real understanding. Then finally, Gombe Munduches, whatever understanding that you have, then you should practice, meditate on it to develop this understanding. So, Jebal Tenes, so in this lifetime, so develop a strong motivation with this through the method of listening, analyzing, and meditation. Within this lifetime, I must get free from the samsara and would not return back anymore into this situation. So like that motivation, this is then becomes the, one should practice with this kind of motivation. So now what kind of practice one has to do? That we already explained how to start. Start with Guru Yoga, refuge, bodhicitta, or the, with this Korde Rishi, or training with the body, speech, mind, eventually texture and thogal, etc. So in this way, so here says, Rangshin nebi pardur tosam gomla nendenches. So in the pardo of the lifetime, one should strive for the practice with the listening, analyzing, and meditation. Okay, now the second one is pardo of the point of the death, chiki pardo. What we have to do? The best practitioners, the great practitioners, yes, Rab Puchungtar Chivi Kangsa, the person, the best capacity person who dies in the manner of a small baby, when the small baby, if a small baby, like baby of 2-3 days maybe, dies, they don't have any notion of dying or not dying without any particular concerns about this situation. So like this, such a practitioner will have no conceptual calculations of death or not death, dying or not dying, because such a practitioner is completely integrated with practice. So completely integrated with the practice in the natural state. One is already kind of like liberated. So only this body is, changing, but they don't go through these emotions of the death, dying, and transition of the pardo, etc. Therefore, for such practitioner, doesn't need these instructions and practice of pardo and pava. And then the medium capacity people, who here is, there are two different parts. Medium, person who dies like a dog. This doesn't sound good. Not in the negative sense. Sometimes people say, you die like dog. That is like bad things, no? With a lot of, I don't know. What does it mean when people say?
I don't know. They say
he had
many bad
dogs.
things about dogs. I don't know why. I don't believe it.
But here it means mainly when the dogs die, they don't care the place, particular place, or here or there. So they can die anywhere in the streets or in the quiet places or anywhere. So they don't concern. There's no concern. So like this such a person, it doesn't mean they don't have concern, they don't care. So somehow because of their practice, the circumstance of their death cannot interfere, cannot be disturbed. So therefore they can die anywhere, in public, in places, in the caves, or in the streets, or anywhere. So they don't concern about particularly, where to die, what kind of, special kind of preference for how they die or where to die, like this, because of they have deep confidence and integration with their practice. And of course, they have no fear of death. And then the medium of the medium capacity practitioners, then they tend to die in a very kind of quiet places, a little bit in the mountains, or maybe a place where nobody sees them. This is talking about the yogis, great solitude yogi practitioners.
Teraz mamy
They tend to prepare to have some certain, favorable places. Okay, then the least practitioners who dies like a king, have a death of king. I don't know what happened when a king dies. Okay, so anyway, now here the explanation is Navitisu, Medang, Rimroso Ches. When they are sick, they adhere medicines and perform, pujas, rituals to extend and to cure. And then Chiduyang, when they are actually closer to come to the death, they are surrounded by the many, friends and families or, loved ones, and then they speak, they give their wills, like that. They lift their wills, etc. So this is the way of kings dying.
Dlaczego tak się mówi, że to
And
najsłabszy?
practitioner also, they go like this way. And even after the death is followed by the performance of the rituals, death rituals, funeral rituals, prayers and rituals, and etc. Week by week, like 49 days, 9 days of practice and rituals, etc. So one who requires to have all these things is the sign that they have no confidence in their practice of Dzogchen. Okay, so now this is the point of the death, Pardo point of how a practitioner dies normally. According to their confidence, their determination, their realization, the way of their death also comes in this way. But it is not same for everyone. Sometimes there's a great yogi, great highly realized masters who may have many followers and many people around. So then even these practitioners from their side doesn't require any of these things, but the followers, surrounding things, people, they try to do their best, and because they don't see what is going on inside of the practitioner, they just like habitual way. So we do so many things. That is what we usually see. So anyway, now these are very, very general. We don't kind of general things that are like this. Okay, so now the practitioner who have been in practice for some time during the lifetime, who have enough experience of the practice. So for those practices, when they dies, then we say there's a different capacity also. So some of them, they go through all the dying processes, all the dissolution or disintegration of the elements and everything. But our great practitioners, they don't require. They know everything by themselves. And then some practitioners need, we kind of like remind them what is going through. So now this is main purpose of the instructions of the Pardo, of the point of death. So as a Sangha, when a practitioner dying, then how we can help the person, your spiritual, the practitioner, to connect with his or her practice, keep peace and keep, connected with the practice. So this is very important. So therefore we have these instructions of showing different signs of the death, integration of the elements, the disintegration of the elements, external signs, seeing external signs, internal signs. So externally, how we can help, and then internally, how the practitioner himself, to connect with these things. So there's a detailed explanations comes. Okay, we can take a break here.